Hello and welcome back to another Coffee and Heroes podcast. Time for our monthly preview show. This is, of course, the show where we go through all the previews books. We pick out all the things that are most deserving of your hard-earned cash, point out a few jumping-on points for things, share all the number ones, look at some great collected editions as well as some of our favourite books and everything pretty much in between. So your host is always Alan, owner of Coffee and Heroes in Belfast, joined, of course, Mr. Keith Miller. Good evening, sir. That is quite the fetching Iron Man t-shirt I've just noticed.
Why, thank you. Yeah, it's not new. None of my t-shirts tend to be terribly new, but
Vintage.
this one's a good one. It fits well. And yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I thought
Well,
it would be
we're nailing our colors to the mast here because I've got Dark Knight Returns right here. You've got
there we
Iron
go.
Man.
All right,
All is right with the world.
we're
All is right.
representing. We're representing.
Perfect synchronicity, totally unplanned. But yeah, no, the previous books came in this week, so we're recording this nice and early. You know, good full month at the previews before orders will not be due to sort of 20th, 21st of September. And loads of great stuff to look forward to. As always, it's broken down. We spoke about it in recent episodes. The books are a little trickier now. You know, there's not one big previews book. But we've broken it down for you. We do, recommend League of Comic Geeks as a good way of looking at solicitations. But in store, we always have, the DC book. We always have the Marvel book. And then other companies are starting to put their own out as well. So we've got an IDW book, we've got a Dynamite book, we've got an Image book. But you don't need to worry about all that. You just need to listen to the next hour and a half of our dulcet tones.
Yeah.
So yeah, the DC book this week, or this month I should say, I mean, it's no surprise to see it front-loaded with the DC Marvel crossover. Of course, we're still awaiting the release of the Marvel version, which is coming out in September, which is Deadpool, Batman. And then, of course, you flip those characters around for the DC one, Batman, Deadpool. We'll get into more of that. But it's no surprise to see that front-loading the DC book. That is going to be a big, big event and a welcome event because, these two companies, for my money, should be working together more. Outside of that, DC's got a big, massive focus on this DC KO event that's going to kick off soon from the likes of Scott Snyder and Joshua Williamson and a few others. We'll point out a few of the tie-ins and a couple of the one-shots that are going to accompany that. We've got a really good triple character title. May actually be the best looking book in here this month, I think. But that's not a surprise because it includes the question. We'll get on to that.
Mm-hmm.
There's some great collected editions. Some absolute books getting on to volume 2 by this point. There's a thoroughly brilliant book coming to the DC Compact line, which, as you know, we're huge, huge fans of. And there's a couple of more expensive, pricey books that will no doubt end up on my pull list. So you guys have to hear about them as well if my wallet's going to suffer. So that's DC side of things. How's the Marvel book looking?
Yep, November seems to be a bit of a blockbuster month for Marvel, and the solicitations in the book prove that with universe-shaking events, bold new beginnings, and some epic finales. I think the spotlight is brightly on X-Men of Apocalypse #1, the launch of Jeff Loeb and Simone DeMeo's apocalyptic saga. Celebrating the anniversary of Age of Apocalypse, and they're backed up by, as you might expect, a staggering lineup of variant covers from industry titans like Art Germ, Daniel Warren Johnson, Joe Mad, Arthur Adams, and more. If variant covers are your thing, but that's really only beginning. There's the latest twists from the Ultimate Universe. There's pulse-pounding adventures across Spider-Man, the Avengers, and Star Wars. I think it's fair to say that this month there's something for everyone. Cosmic clashes, there's street level showdowns, there's supernatural horror, and there's multiversal mayhem. No punches pulled as 2025 heads towards its year-end crescendo.
Yeah, and definitely something, again, we'll talk about when we get on to the Marvel book, but they are starting to tease that Ultimate Universe event, which is certainly in the pipeline, and we've been counting down to through the Ultimate books so far. When it comes to the indie side of things, as I say, it's wise going on to like League of Comic Geeks. You can break it down by solicitations through publisher. What we've picked out this month is titles from the likes of Dynamite, from Titan, from Image, Boom Studios, IDW, and a few others. I think Image were definitely the ones that stand out this month, but that's maybe not too surprising, given that it has a very unexpected return for a book. One of our favorite books we spoke very, very highly of throughout the years. Was a 20-issue maxi series. We'll go on the details soon. But yeah, a sequel to it that sort of came out of nowhere. We've got an expansion of the Invincible universe, as well as a long out of print title comes back into print from Robert Kirkman, as I say, part of the Invincible universe. We've got some good stuff happening in the Order of Kaya, some really interesting stuff. It's a Wes Craig book that we're big fans of, but looks like a couple of other creators maybe coming to the party. Ghost Machine
Hmm.
are knocking out some great stuff with one or two jumping on points. There's a long out of print hardcover coming back from Rick Remender. So, of course, I'll be all over that. Conan, of course, gets mentioned, people. You can check it off your bingo card. And we'll be chatting a little bit as well about a new era for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at IDW, as there are a few creative changes. But yeah, that's the sort of brief oversight for it, but we'll jump straight into the books. And given that Marvel have invaded the front of the DC book, Keith, why don't you take it from here?
Absolutely. And that invasion comes in the form of the Merc with a mouth. So we've got DC Marvel Batman Deadpool #1. So that will be following from the Marvel DC Deadpool Batman #1, which was out in, I think, October, or will be out in October. The Dark Knight and the Merc with a Mouth team up for an adventure so mind-bending you'll think you're in a dream. Brought to you by legendary creators Grant Morrison and Dan Mora. That's a team up right there.
Mhm.
And be sure not to miss these incredible extra stories. We have Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Joshua Williamson teaming up with Hayden Sherman for a magical Constantine Doctor Strange tale. Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo bring you an epic Nightwing Dick Grayson and Laura Kinney Wolverine story. Mariko Tamaki and Amanda Connor smash Harley Quinn and the Hulk together. And G. Willow Wilson and Dennis Cowan tell an electrifying Static and Miss Marvel yarn. There's a whole pile of variant covers, about 20 of them, for Morrow, Bermeo, Brooks, Chung, Connor, Dragotta, Frisian, Kubert, Lee. We've got a Quietly cover, Redondo, Sinkowicz, Ryan Sook, loads of stuff there if that's your bag. So I don't know if this, if the two stories are a continuation of one another, if they're, both just separate one shots. Do we see Batman and Deadpool meeting for the first time twice? Not quite sure. But as you say, this is going to blow the doors off, I would say.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I've already put my pre-orders in for the first one, the Marvel DC Deadpool Batman, and it's probably since Absolute Batman #1, it's the biggest order I've placed. A lot of that comes down to the fact these are going to be great one shots. It's not a case of this is #1 of five and you got to get all five, etc. What I will say is that a couple of the backup titles in this one, I mean, they could be their own title.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, look at that Constantine Doctor Strange creative team, Hayden Sherman on art. Look at what a job he's been doing in Dark Patterns, as well as obviously Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yep.
Snyder, Tynion, and Williamson all writing together. Tom Taylor, two characters he defined through DC and
Yep.
Marvel.
Yep.
Nightwing, Laura Kinney, fantastic. So yeah, really looking forward to this. I mean, it's the first thing we've seen Grant Morrison come to from either of the big two in a long time. I could have been given 100 guesses. I would have never thought the first thing he would have come back to write would have involved Deadpool. But there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
But yeah, variant covers, we'll probably order most of them in, I would say, but don't fall for them all, kids. You don't need 20 covers. That's okay, Andy. You don't listen to this. You probably do. But you don't need 20 covers for the one comic. But we will have them all in so you have a choice, just in case there's ones that spotlight certain characters that you prefer. I mean, you've got a cover with Absolute Batman and the Punisher on it. You've got that cover I was just talking about for Constantine Doctor Strange. So yeah, just pick the cover you like and go from there. You don't need to buy 10 copies of this book. So don't be worrying too much about that. But yeah, as I say, there's definitely a big emphasis on DCKO. We covered a lot of it in last month's episode. This is sort of the big knockdown, drag out fact for the DC universe for how they're going to be able to obtain the power to take on Darkseid. So in this book, it's actually DCKO #2, but I just wanted to mention it as issue 1 hasn't launched yet. We've ordered big on it, but if you want to add it to a pull list late, there's no problem there. But yeah, this is the event that's coming from Scott Snyder, writing, and Javi Verdandez on art. But what's definitely worth mentioning from this book is there is a DCKO tie-in now. It seems to be, I think DC tend to be pretty good with events in that a lot of them just sort of invade the main books. There's not a lot of, spin-off series and things like that. But what there is a spin-off one-shot. And of course, if you were going to have one spin-off it was probably going to feature Batman. We're not here to disappoint you, people. DCKO Night Fight #1. This is written by Joshua Williamson, and oh my god, where does he find the time? Drawn by Dan Mora. So, experience Batman's epic journey during the explosive DCKO event. The Dark Knight is forced to take a different path in the tournament for the Heart of Apocalypse.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He's always got a plan. Always got a plan. One that has turned Gotham into a deadly arena where Batman must battle against the Batmen of the future. Who are these Batmen? Stay tuned to find out. Get ready for the greatest fight of Batman's life in this over-the-top crossover title. So, yeah, that seems to be the only one really announced so far. As I say, there's tie-ins in this book from Justice League Unlimited, Superman, Titans, and so on and so forth. I really hope DC send us. I hope Diamond send us this as a poster.
Yeah.
Because if they do, I will fill this in the store as we go for who wins, who's fighting.
You're gonna start taking a poll.
We sweepstakes, absolutely. Everybody.
Yeah.
As long as I draw Batman, we're all good. Because
tell me, is this a one shot or is it a miniseries?
Well, the thing is, I could have swore it was announced as a one shot, but I do see the word miniseries here. But also, DC are usually good about in their details saying like 1 of 4, 1 of 6, whatever, and there's no details there.
No.
So I thought this was a one shot. So come back to us in our previous podcast next month to find out if there's a number 2. But
good stuff. So moving away from the KO sort of stuff, we're hitting the not too distant future with Batman Static Beyond #1. So we have young hero Terry McGinnis patrolling the streets of Neo Gotham as Batman Beyond, one of my favorite DC characters, while Virgil Hawkins, aka Static, forges a new technological revolution in Dakota City with the introduction of the Q-Wave energy grid. Together alongside the Justice League Beyond, the heroes prepare for Earth's induction into the interplanetary alliance known as the Cooperative. Everything seems to be going smoothly until a new villain arrives on the scene and puts everything at risk. At the center of all the mayhem is the unlikely duo of Static and Batman Beyond, as they must work together to save the world before it's too late. This is by Evan Narcisse, who is primarily, if I recall, a journalist and a video game guy. He was reporting video games for the New York Times and Atlantic and stuff. And then I think he interviewed Ta-Nehisi Coates about Coates' work on Black Panther, and that then got him into collaborating on Black Panther stories with. I think he wrote Rise of the Black Panther, and I think he did some Wakanda stuff.
Wakanda as well, which focused on Killmonger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think actually he is behind some of the writing on Spider-Man, the game, and Spider-Man Miles Morales, the PlayStation games.
He also seems to have collaborated with Greg Pak on Sam Wilson, Captain America. That was a 5-issue series earlier this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he did. That's right. I read that.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of form for stuff you enjoy, and as I say, I know you're a huge Batman Beyond fan, and it's maybe a character that doesn't get an awful lot of time in the spotlight these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So that might be one if we pick up. Now, this is one. The next one is one that both you and I were super, super interested in. You were talking about the 3 heroes teaming up in what looks like a very noirish sort of tale from DC Black Label, and that's Batman, Green Arrow, and The Question, the original Vic Sage Question in Arcadia #1. This is by Gabriel Hardman, and I think he's also the artist on it.
Writing and drawing.
Yeah, absolutely. So from the decaying husk of Hub City, Vic Sage, The Question goes deep undercover on a trail of a human trafficking operation in the frozen Arctic. Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, pushed out of his company's C-suite, must get his crumbling life back together. But what is Queen Industries' involvement with a mysterious project dubbed Arcadia? Spurred on by The Question, Green Arrow joins the hunt for answers, but one obstacle stands in the way of their investigation: the Batman. Writer-artist Gabriel Hardman comes to DC Black Label with a hard-boiled modern twist on the DC social thrillers of the 1980s, updating his opinionated trio of lone wolf vigilantes for the era of open-class warfare and ecological collapse. So this looks good. This sort of reminded me when I saw it of the sort of Denny O'Neil sort of stuff.
Yeah,
You
Denny,
know that.
it just screams Denny O'Neill, Neil
Yeah,
Adams, doesn't it?
yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. So yeah, this is. I mean, I know this. I saw this, and the first thing I thought was this looks great, and the second thing I thought was Alan's going to be all over this.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
would be correct in both cases. Yeah, I must be honest, I didn't see much of an announcement or fanfare about it until I read it in this previews catalog,
mm,
and then it just immediately caught my eye. Yeah, just three of my favorite characters right there.
yep.
Just it sounds great. Well, anytime you invoke sort of noir and 80s and stuff like that, it's just my bag completely.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. And I mean, it's released the same at the same time as the Batman Second Night will be out as well. So we're going to get
mhm.
some good hard boiled goodness that particular month.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be happy to know it. It does say that it's just a standard comic size as well. It is a Black Label book, but it does have the standard size for Batman Green Arrow Question. Although I do
Brilliant.
seem to remember us talking about the Second Night, the book, of course, by Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins, and we weren't sure. The solicitation didn't
Yes.
notice the size, but for issue 2 here, it does say Prestige Plus,
It
so it
does
will
say, yeah.
stay. It will stay with the original formatting, which we'd pretty much worked out it would do anyway.
Yeah, we'll let them
Uh,
off with it. It's good. I should mention that this Batman Green Arrow Question Arcadia is a 4 issue mini.
or issue miniseries.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, away from the single issues and on to some collected editions, some great stuff from DC this month. You have the release of the next Absolute Batman volume. This one's going to be tremendous value. Actually, the first book was issues 1 to 6. This one is 7 to 14. So you're getting 8 issues in this one. So you're going to get the Mr. Freeze arc that we had in 7 and 8, and then you're going to get the Bane arc, Abomination, as well. I mean, I've been really enjoying it. Ever since they introduced Bane, Absolute Batman's been slowly creeping its way back to the top of my favorites list for absolute books, just for the pure riskiness of the storytelling at times.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've created such a formidable villain. The one worry with Absolute Batman at the start was this guy's so big and jacked and such a great fighter and has, knives for as part of his cowl, and has this huge hammer he pulls out of his or this huge axe he pulls out of his chest. Who could possibly defeat this Batman? Enter Bane. So yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant. So it's good to see that they're stretching that out into a bigger collected edition. It is nice as well for me as a store maybe to learn lessons from the launch of them both as well, because I ordered 40 copies. I've never ordered so many trades and hardcovers in my life. 40 copies of Absolute Batman. We sold them all within 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's now out of print. It only came out a month ago. This
Mm.
book's it's a juggernaut. It just seems to scream to the casual fan, which is great to see. So suffice to say, I'll be ordering even bigger this time, and I really hope they have new printings of Volume 1 around that time as well.
And worth listening back to, I say our last podcast, but you were flying solo on it as you interviewed Clayman for the third time, who was the artist on Absolute Batman 11, and quite an issue it was, and
That it
quite an interview
most
it was.
that it most certainly was, and we have more copies of 11 coming next week, because it almost stands as a bit of a one-shot origin of Absolute Bane, and yeah, the art is gorgeous. That was a fun interview chat with Clay. It always is. It sometimes takes him a while to warm up, but once he gets
Yeah,
going, it's a great guy to chat to. So yeah, Absolute Batman Volume 2 will be hitting around November.
good stuff. Another hardcover here in the collected editions, anyway. Now, this is a wee bit of an early solicit. It's solicited for January, but it's in this month's book. And this is the new history of the DC Universe hardcover. This is by current DC Godhead, Mark Waid, who's also on Justice League Unlimited, well known for Kingdom Come and others. And some of DC's greatest artists, Todd Newuck, Jerry Ordway, Brad Walker, Michael Allred, Dan Jurgens, Norm Rapmund, Doug Mankey, Tony S. Daniel, and Hayden Sherman. And they tell the spellbinding story of the DCU from its very beginning all the way to its end. Through the narration of Barry Allen, experience the golden age of heroes and the rise of the Justice Society, witness the debuts of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, as today's DCU takes shape, and discover how an array of crises shapes reality itself as DC's heroes protect the past, present, and the far-flung future. I'm really enjoying this at the minute. I think we're a couple of issues in. I love this kind of format, sort of I suppose just smoothing out and retelling history, so it all makes sense in a way.
Yeah, what was it? Was it the official Marvel Universe handbook or something they used to do in the past for this kind of stuff, and who's who for DC? But
Yeah,
this is certainly a lot more streamlined. I mean, they have form for this, didn't they? Do History of the
yeah,
Marvel Universe
same thing,
for
yeah. And
for Marvel as well.
think that was Mark Waid as well, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah, and
Yeah,
I think it was the same artist as well, actually, Javier Rodriguez.
yeah,
So
yeah. There you are.
I'm
So
not too
yeah,
surprised that they're working together again.
thoroughly enjoy that. Yep.
Excellent. A couple more from myself, and again, slightly advanced solicitations, but in this book, I'd mentioned in the intro about a modern classic hitting the DC Compact line, and that is Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, written by Tom King, art by Bill Quay Evely, and a better looking DC book in the last 10 years. I dare you to show me. This was an absolute beautiful book, which kind of, I have spoken to people about this. I love that it's come into this format. But I defy anybody to read this book in this size and then not go, I need a bigger edition to
Yeah.
appreciate the art, you know? But yeah, it's that $10 price point, which you really just can't beat. It's Supergirl like you've never seen her before, in a character defining sci fi fantasy masterpiece from Tom King and Bill Quay Evely. Kara Zor-El has seen some epic adventures over the years, but she now finds her life without meaning or purpose. Here she is, a young woman who saw her planet destroyed and was sent to Earth to protect a baby cousin who ended up not needing her. Just when Supergirl thinks she's had enough, everything changes. An alien girl seeks her out for a vicious mission. Her world has been destroyed, and the bad guys responsible are still out there. She wants revenge, and if Supergirl doesn't help her, she'll do it herself, whatever the cost. Now, a Kryptonian, a dog, and an angry, heartbroken child head out into space on a journey that will shake them to their very core. This collects the entirety of the 8 issue miniseries Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So, again, the value of that is just superb. And if you've never read it before, it's a great way, it's a great, affordable way to do so. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if you then double dip and
Yeah,
go for a bigger edition.
absolutely. And that is Eisner Award winning penciler, Bill Quisevely.
Absolutely, that was
Uh,
for Helen of Windhorn, wasn't it?
Helen of Windhorn,
Also, which
also
was
with Tom
sort
King.
of
Yeah,
yeah, it was sort of their follow-up collaboration, which was also
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And then
Fantastic
one more
stuff.
from myself for DC, even if it is a logistical nightmare to talk about titles here. So this is the Batman White Knight Absolute Edition. Now, this is not part of the Absolute Universe. Absolute Edition is a format DC have done for years. It's an oversized hardcover format, premium paper, always comes with a slipcase, and I don't think I have any behind me. No, I've got all my Marvel. I've got all my Daredevil and Captain America's behind me. But yeah, they tend to reserve it for the very best stories. So Batman Year One has an absolute edition. Dark Knight Returns has an absolute edition. Watchmen has an absolute edition. And this is one in terms of modern books, certainly in the last 10 years, I think is possibly part of that conversation. Certainly as a modern classic. The first chapter of Sean Murphy's White Knight universe arrives in an absolute format in a stunning two-book collector's set. This is where it also gets good as well. So writer artist Sean Murphy's thrilling contribution to the Batman mythos introduces a Jack Napier who has been cured of his villainous Joker persona. After Jack reconciles with Harley Quinn, he attempts to further atone for his past sins by running for Gotham's City Council so that he can bring about the reforms that will end corruption and make everyone accountable to the law, including Batman. But while Jack may be cured, he isn't above using the Joker's cunning tactics to discredit Batman and turn public opinion against him. And when Jack's spurned former protege decides that Gotham always needs a Joker, Jack and Batman must do the unthinkable and team up to save the city they cherish. This Absolute Edition presents White Knight 1 to 8 in an oversized format featuring a brand new cover, a new introduction, development sketches, and more. Also included is a second volume which showcases the entire story in black and white, highlighting Murphy's dynamic art style. So you get both editions, you get a color edition and a black and white edition. So I think that'll be tremendous value. It is in a ridiculously early solicit. It's not actually until May of next year. But these Absolute Editions, I know they're expensive to produce, so they really do depend on pre-order numbers and stores to pre-order that far in advance. So with those type of editions, they tend to come in, and then when they're gone, they're gone. So definitely, if you're a fan of White Knights, this is definitely an essential for the collection. And that is everything from me from DC.
Yeah, absolutely. Just one more from me, and that is the Justice League Dark New 52 Compendium trade paperback. Jeff Johns, Jem DeMatteis, Jeff Lemire, Joshua Hale Fivekov, I think Peter Milligan's on there, of course, because he was the originator of Justice League Dark, with artists Mikel Janin, Andre Guinaldo, and others. So this is the original Justice League Dark from the New 52, whenever that was first, whenever the team first came together. I think that was about 2011. And with the Justice League defeated at the hands of the Mad Sorceress Enchantress, it's up to the world's most powerful and strange magical heroes to prevent the end times. London's street sorcerer John Constantine, stage magician Zatanna, the reality-altering alien Shade, the ghost Deadman. Will this unlikely team put aside their differences to stop evil, or will they fall apart when the world needs them most? So collects a whole pile of stuff, including Justice League Dark number 0 to 40, a couple of annuals, the Future's End stuff. I think it was a one-shot, some Constantine stuff, some iVampire stuff, some basic Justice League, some JLA, and various bits and pieces. So it's 1,624 pages, trade paperback, and definitely looks anything. It looks interesting. I never read it. Did you ever get into
Yeah,
it?
fantastic run. So it was. I mean, New 52 was sort of my reintroduction to comics as an adult. And, I jumped into all of the books and stuck on lots of them. But yeah, early Mikel Janin art as well in the DC universe. So it's a beautiful looking book. Any book that has Zatanna and Constantine at the front and center is my kind of thing. But this is another example as well of what DC are doing right at the moment with their formats, because this is a compendium. So they have released this before as a omnibus, but it was I think it was $125. It's about £110. This is $60. This is half the price, and it's the same amount of content as well. So these editions are great. Like I sold one in the store today. The Batman 66 came out in a compendium this week, and great creative teams on it. Jeff Parker, the All Reds, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy Bannock couldn't believe the price because it was 1 to 40 plus all these tie-in series and one shots and all sorts. So yeah, tremendous value. And yeah, as I know you love your Constantine stuff, I think you would very much enjoy that.
Yeah, I might pick that up, which is why I highlighted it. I wanted to ask you about it. So that ends DC for us today. So we'll kick straight into the other one of the big two, into Marvel, and see what they're up to. And Age of Apocalypse, the anniversary of, is fairly front and center at the front of this book. So we begin with X-Men of Apocalypse #1 by Jeff Loeb and artist Simone DeMeo. That's a great team. The X-Men of Apocalypse versus the Uncanny X-Men. The X-Men of Apocalypse are here in the Marvel Universe, and that's a very bad thing for the Uncanny X-Men. That is all we've got. We've got a main cover there with Sabretooth and Wild Thing from the Age of Apocalypse universe, and they have Nate Gray, the Age of Apocalypse version of Cable, who's one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time.
I
Not just
happened to be
Cable.
in the store when you saw this cover. And
Yeah.
the delight in your face.
Yeah, I love X-Man. I love X-Man Nate Gray. And you don't see enough of him, so it's great to see this young version of Cable kicking about. So there's an Art Adams cover, there's a Joe Mad cover, and there's a Fan Yang cover. Obviously, be great to see Joe Mad doing all the interiors for this. But Simone DeMeo, I think, is a very very able artist. I think DeMeo nearly is as close to Joe Mad art as you can get, in my mind, very stylistically. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to this. I think this is 4 issues.
Yeah,
Uh,
4 issues.
yeah, and a whole stack of variant covers, as I say. Following up on that, we've also got X-Men Tales from the Edge of Apocalypse. Now, you won't need this, Alan, because you have the Edge of Apocalypse hardcover, isn't that right?
Yeah, the big omnibus of it. It's on my ever expanding reading list. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
talk about this all the time. I mostly read Marvel omnibuses because I missed a lot of these stories the first time round, whereas
for
I've
sure.
read a lot of the classic DC stuff. So it will be read at some point in the near future, hopefully.
So this Age X-Men Tales from the Age of Apocalypse #1 was written by Fabian Nicieza, John Francis Moore, Larry Hama, Scott Lobdell. So they wrote the issues that are contained in this. Art was Joe Mad, Steve Epting, Adam Kubert, and Adam Kubert. So in 1995, Marvel shocked the comics reading world, cancelling all its blockbuster X titles and replacing them with new series in the transformed reality of Age of Apocalypse. These tales, by some of the era's leading creators, introduce fans to radically new versions of the heroes they love, fighting for survival in a nightmarish dystopia where Charles Xavier is long dead. Professor X was killed 20 years ago in the past during a freak time travel accident, and now the Darwinian conqueror Apocalypse rules with an iron fist, ruthlessly enforcing his dictum that only the strong shall survive. In the long shadow of En Sabah Nur, hidden amongst the downtrodden humankind, are a group of ragtag freedom fighters led by Xavier's oldest friend, Magneto. They're amazing, they're astonishing, but who are the X-Men? Plus, what has become of the iconic mutants Cyclops, Havoc, and Wolverine in this war-torn world. So this collects the first issues of Astonishing X-Men, Factor X, Weapon X, and Amazing X-Men. So Astonishing X-Men and Amazing X-Men were the replacements for Uncanny X-Men and Adjectiveless X-Men. Factor X was the replacement for X-Factor at the time, and Weapon X was the replacement for Wolverine. So those are 4 good issues.
Yeah, it's almost like a little taster, isn't it? I suppose if you want to get into Age of Apocalypse, it's like this is the reality we're setting up. These are the characters we're going to be following. So it's a quite good idea that actually for certainly what was a very unique event, taking over all of the books at the time.
Yeah, very much so. And those sort of set it up nicely. Definitely well worth picking up for that sort of £10 price point, for
Hmm.
sure. We have also the Infernal Hulk #1. Now I jumped off the current run on Hulk. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Nick Klein and art, but this appears to be pushing that particular narrative forward. I jumped off it. It just wasn't really my thing. I don't think.
Hmm.
Are you still on it?
No, I was the same. I enjoyed it when Nick Klein was on the art, but I think there was a period of time where he stepped away,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
book lost
exactly.
me a little bit because his body horror art style was kind of what I get into it from because
Yeah,
he had been the artist on Thor with Donny Cates, which was something I was really enjoying as well.
yeah, that's right. So anyway, Infernal Hulk #1, incredible, immortal, infernal. The evil known as the Eldest has literally torn Bruce Banner and the Hulk apart and taken the Hulk's body as their own. This new unstoppable Infernal Hulk is 10 times the monster that everyone always feared Hulk would be. Their diabolical plan is to plunge the world back into ancient horrors by transforming our heroes into nightmarish beasts. Meanwhile, the indomitable Bruce Banner, though powerless, will stop at nothing to thwart their evil schemes. Um, there you go. Interesting stuff. Would it
Nice.
convince you back on again?
I would certainly give the first issue or two a go. Again, if the creative team stays the same, I really like Nick Klein's art style, and it definitely sounds like an intrigue. As long as it's simple enough to get into, and it's not obviously so vital that you read what came before. But any #1 should be that. It should be very accessible.
Yeah.
An event that Marvel is doing here, which just screams a little bit. For lack of a better term, and excuse my French, America, fuck yeah, is this book coming out called 1776, which is, quote, celebrating America's 250th birthday. So, but the format of this sounds really interesting. So, a mysterious force threatens to erase the founding of the United States, forcing Captain America and select Marvel heroes to travel back in time. With an awesome assembly, the likes of which the Marvel Universe nor Revolutionary America have ever seen, it falls to the heroes of today and yesterday to unite to restore history at the dawn of the American Revolution. As they arrive in colonial America, they join forces with historical figures such as George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Thomas Jefferson to unravel the origins of this threat. I really hope there's a crossover with Philadelphia as I say all this. Together, the team navigates the chaos of the era, blending superhuman abilities with revolutionary ingenuity, only by ensuring pivotal moments remain intact. Sounds very Back to the Future. Can these heroes hope to preserve the founding of a nation and safeguard both America's legacy and their own existence forever? Now, this does sound, as I say, a little bit like an American Love-In, but it's written by J. Michael Straczynski, so you know
Hmm.
it's going to be good. Art on this is by Ron Lim and Sean Damian Hill. It's going to be 5 issues in total. Um, so the short and sort of solicitation says calamity strikes when a mysterious force dares to tamper with the sacred threads of history. Captain America and his formidable squad of Marvel heroes leap into action. Their mission to safeguard the founding of the United States of America. The fate of the nation hangs in the balance of the dawn of the revolution, as these valiant heroes must navigate the treacherous waters of the past to ensure a future that remains untarnished. From what we can see there, you've got Captain America, you've got Cyclops, you've got Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Sue Storm, Spider-Man, and Hulk. So it's quite the Marvel team.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Whenever, obviously, because JMS is writing Ron Lim and Sean Damian Hill on art. And it looks like it's what 5 issues.
5 issues.
Yeah, and whenever I first saw it, I got excited because I don't know. Did you ever read the Marvel 1602 eight issue
Yes,
series, and then the
yes.
various spin-offs. Now, that is a fantastic eight issue series. It was written by Neil Gaiman, of course, who obviously we don't really talk about anymore, with art by Andy Kubert. But it was a really fantastic series. It had some very, very cool spin-offs over the years. Whenever I first saw this, I was like, "Oh, is this going to be like a almost like a continuation of that?" But that was like an alternate reality thing if our heroes had spawned in 1602,
Yeah.
rather than I thought that this is obviously a time travel thing. But no, nonetheless, it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, the power of JMS goes a long way. Goes a long
Definitely
way.
does. Definitely does.
But one that definitely has my attention. I'm really enjoying at the moment what Marvel have been doing with the Aliens and with Predator.
Yeah.
They're treating the franchises really, really well, even in live action. With I know you've been enjoying Alien Earth, and you look
Yeah.
at the Predator movies that have come out,
Mhm.
Badlands, and Prey and stuff like that. So it's nice that they're continuing on with this, and a really cool looking one, which is Alien versus Captain America. So this is the kind of crazy sort of pairing you would do if you were a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd have action figures of these two, and you'd be like, "What if happened if this happened?" That's the kind
I'll
of thing
go
you only.
on. I'll go on better. You don't even have to be a kid. Years and years ago, uh, as you know, I'm a big role player, and if I recall, it was our buddies Martin and I think Stuart. I think
Hmm.
Martin played Wolverine. Stuart played Batman. I think it was the two of them. It was donkeys years ago, and it was just a pickup game I'd run, and I had the Predator come to New York, and Batman be pulled to New York as a result of this through using Access, who was the
Hmm.
the character who joined the two universes together in the
Yeah.
Marvel vs. DC crossover, and Batman and Wolverine hunted the Predator around New York. It was pretty cool stuff, and that was long before Marvel owned any other rights for this sort of stuff. So you don't have to. That was the young adult equivalent of playing with toys.
You need to be writing out the Marvel and getting that pitch ready for the
Absolutely, buddy.
for the next crossover.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, this is the kind of thing you only really see in comics. Obviously, this would be huge, big budget to do in live action or whatever. So it's always one of the joys of the medium. But yeah, written by Frank Thierry with art by Stefano Raphael. The Red Skull's newest recruits. It's World War II, and Hydra seeks a new weapon to defeat the Allies and win the war. To that end, the Red Skull has sent Baron Strucker on an expedition to the Himalayas to find the fabled city of Attilan. But instead of finding the Inhumans, Strucker uncovers something much more deadly, much more alien. Can Captain America and the Howling Commandos stop the Skull and his newfound xenomorph weapons? Or will the first Avenger learn that in war-torn Europe, no one can hear you scream? I mean, that's a great solicitation. Yeah, you just
Yeah,
know this is going to be fun. Like, yeah,
yeah,
good creative team
absolutely.
as well.
Yeah, Frank Thierry and Stefano Raffi. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to that. That cover by Lino Francis Yu is brilliant.
Yeah, it really sets the tone.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just a quick dip into Age of Revelation. A lot of these books will be on their number two. I did read Age of Revelation number zero. I think you still have a bunch in store. Well worth picking up. Really good primer for that 10 years in the future.
Yeah.
What's happening. So I'm kind of jazzed for it now, I have to say. But what I've done is I've just been very careful because there's like 12 books or something. Uh, and I don't want to spend a vast amount of money. So I've just been very careful to do what we always do, which is to look at the creative team and then look at the
Hmm.
book, So uh, I'm going to stick on those books that are analogs for some of the books that I'm reading as long as the creative team is solid. So I'm going to stick on
Yeah.
Amazing X-Men, which is Jed MacKay and Mahmoud Asrar, dream team right there. And that's the equivalent of the mainline X-Men book. I'm going to stick on X-Men Book of Revelation. That's sort of a sort of a world building book. So that's
Hmm.
right up my street there. Jed MacKay's on that with Nitho Diaz. So I'm going to stick on that. And Unbreakable X-Men, which is the equivalent of the Uncanny X-Men. And that's the team on that already. So that's Gail Simone and Lucas Wernick. And I'm kind of enjoying that book already. So I'm going to stick in that. A lot of the rest, Expatriate X-Men, I'm not interested in the characters or the creative teams. The Last Wolverine, I'm not terribly interested in the character. Laura Nick Sabretooth, the Rogue and Storm one, the Deadpool one, none of those things. The Long Shot one, almost got me. It's Jerry Dugan, Jonathan Hickman, Alan Robinson, and art. But then I realized I hate Longshot, so so, so I'm not going to bother. Not Longshot.
But if any creative team could, convince you.
I don't hate Longshot. I hate Mojo as a villain. Just never have liked him. Never have liked him. So I just kind of went, hold on, that's going to be Mojo. Can't look at
That's a good
that.
thing. You're not supposed to like a villain.
Yeah, I know that, but I can't even look at him. And then the other one that kind of got me was Omega Kids. So that's Quentin Quire, but the creative team on that. So Quentin Quire's leading effectively the secret police, a group of telepaths that seem to be working for Revelation.
Hmm.
That's Tony Fleeks of Stray Dogs on writing, and Andre Genelette, who was the artist
You
on,
mean Tony Flex of the absolutely wonderful The Thing miniseries?
of course, and also the Uncanny Valley we just read,
Yeah.
and so forth. But Andre Genelette, who was the artist on Sensational She-Hulk recently, so that's that. I'm interested in that book, and then of course the Radioactive Spider-Man, which Joe Kelly, who's the current writer on Spider-Man, is writing. So that's the ones that I'm going to sort of stick with, sort of 5 or 6, just to build it out, and see what it looks like. So don't go mad, but get something you like for sure.
Yeah.
What else have we got going on? We've kind of got the tail end of Imperial, the current Jonathan Hickman series, which I'm really enjoying. And there's one that's coming off the back of that, and that's Planet She-Hulk, which is coming out with a #1. I think it's an ongoing, or at least a maxi series by Stephanie Phillips and Aaron Cooter. So pretty solid team there. Scar, Party of One. She-Hulk is back, and she's stuck on Sakaar. Spinning out of Jonathan Hickman's hit cosmic epic Imperial, Jennifer Walters has made a promise to her cousin Hulk to watch over the planet Sakaar and its people for a few days. But it's been longer than a few days, and now She-Hulk is in charge of keeping the peace on a planet of war. But Jennifer is a very different Hulk than the one that once smashed Sakaar into submission. Is she up to the task? Now, I love She-Hulk. Again, one of my favorite Marvel characters. So I'm gonna grab that and see what it's like. Again, a character, as you said, who you don't often get to see in full glory, and she's been getting a wee bit more popular of late. So I'm going to pick that up and see what the crack is there.
Yeah, I don't think there's really been a She-Hulk since Sensational She-Hulk, was it? That
Yeah,
Rainbow
exactly. Yeah,
Rowell finished off.
that's the one.
Well, it seems to be the month of comebacks, or the period of comebacks at Marvel at the moment, because suddenly someone of the higher ups at Marvel have decided the Punisher should be back in full force. And in the last couple of months, we've had Punisher Red Band, we've had Marvel Knights Punisher announced, and now we've got a 5-issue miniseries, Daredevil Punisher, The Devil's Trigger. This is right up my alley, written by Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Tommaso Bianchi. Do you have what it takes to pull the trigger? Daredevil and the Punisher, two of Marvel's mightiest with one of the most celebrated and storied rivalries in comics, find themselves at odds, not only with each other, but with New York's criminal element once again. Writer Jimmy Palmiotti revisits the world that was, as Frank Castle is pitted against the Nuki crime family for their most violent and visceral confrontation yet. As their conflict threatens to tear Hell's Kitchen apart, it'll fall to Daredevil to contain the chaos. This is also filling the void a little bit at the moment as well, because the main Daredevil title will have come to an end by the time this is released. It's the first time in a long time we haven't had an ongoing Daredevil book, but
Yeah,
maybe the break will do a little bit of good, recharge the batteries, get a great creative team on it, and this definitely fills the void in the meantime for me.
brilliant. We are in November, finally getting the finale to One World Under Doom. Doom has confronted all of Earth's heroes in battle, and he's won. What's more, he's used the magical power of the Sorcerer Supreme to ensure that this victory has become a fixed moment in time, a thing that will stand forever, impervious to magic or time travel. But unbeknownst to Doom, in that climatic moment that can now never be changed, the seeds of Doom's downfall were also fixed in eternity. So it all comes down to this big finale in One World Under Doom by Ryan North, RB Silva. Lovely, lovely cover there by Ben Harvey. And of course, if the Sorcerer Supreme falls, who will rise to take his place? Who's your bet on? Because I don't think it's going to be Stephen Strange.
Well, no, they've already announced a Doctor Strange ongoing book, haven't they? That certainly does not seem to say that that will be the case. But
No.
yeah, I mean, it's been a wee bit of a truncated title coming out, One More London. There's been the odd delay here and there which has maybe hurt its momentum a wee bit because it's obviously so all encompassing to the whole Marvel universe. There's
Yeah,
so
and
many
it's
titles and One World Under Doom and that kind of
I
thing.
think that that has kind of been the problem a wee bit. It's been really good storytelling. It's
Hmm.
been great.
Yeah, Rannor's brilliant
Yeah,
writer. Yeah.
really enjoyed the story. But as you say, it's been a wee bit sturdy stoppy, and also it hasn't had the knock-on effect on the rest of the Marvel universe that I would have liked it to have.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? We're not seeing in Spider-Man, for example, the impact on New York City of Doctor Doom being the Emperor of the World. So it's a wee bit too contained for me, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean. But one place where it was very much having an effect was, and I think this was the best title coming out across the One World Under Doom was Red Hulk, and that hits number 10 and its finale. Uh, at the same time as One World Under Doom in November. That was by Benjamin Percy and Gabriel Guzman.
Hmm.
And that has just been a fantastic book. Whenever that comes out on trade, I would highly recommend you pick it up. Yeah, so it's Red Hulk, it's Machine Man and Deathlock, and it's Warwolf. So this is the fantastic finale. It was loud and it was bombastic and it was a bit of a 90s macho throwback. Great supporting cast. Couldn't talk about that particular book, which is Red Hulk, highly enough. Very, very good stuff. So that's a personal recommendation from me. Also spinning out of Imperial is on the 19th of November is Nova Centurion number 1 by Jed MacKay, who seems to be everywhere right now, and Alvaro Lopez. Got a problem? Nova can help for a price. With the Xandarian world mind, the sentient repository of an entire extinct people's culture and history, relying on regular and expensive energy infusions, Richard Rider is for hire. A deep space drifter weighed down with the truth of the terrible lie that the new galactic union was built upon. Nova is a corpse of one, but how long can he keep his hands clean handling dirty money? Um, very much looking forward to this. It'll be the first Nova ongoing series since I think about 2017.
Yeah, I think it
So
was Jerry
really,
Dugan was the last person on it, maybe.
I think so. You could be right. You could be right. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. And I guess this is the sort of the this and She-Hulk and such are the kind of spin-offs that we were expecting.
Yeah.
With this being Jonathan Hickman's sort of reimagining of the cosmic universe. So yeah, looking forward to that. Let me see what else is new. What's next on the list? Um,
Well, we're sort of winding up on the single issues
yeah,
here, and obviously we'd mentioned, how Marvel are handling the Alien franchise and the Predator
yes,
franchise.
yeah.
Obviously, we had Alien Captain America, but we also have a bit of Predator as well.
We do, and that's Predator Badlands by Ethan Sachs and artist Elvin Ching with a lovely Juan Ferreira cover. The official prequel, done in collaboration with director Dan Trachtenberg on the new and eagerly anticipated film Predator Badlands, is here. A young Watcha warrior is given a seemingly simple task by his father: retrieve a piece of technology from a derelict spaceship that crashed years ago. Inside, however, is an ancient and deadly threat that lies in wait. Now the predator will become the prey. So yeah, I guess that's the prequel to the. It's not an animated movie, is it? It's a live action movie.
I think it's a live action movie, Predator
Yeah,
Badlands. I'd need to double check. But yeah, they've obviously been doing some animated stuff recently. They've been doing some live action stuff. Yeah, they're really treating the franchise as well, as I say, and
yeah.
making sure that they're aimed at an adult audience, no dumbing down of the violence and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that'll probably be worth picking up. It was the same with Fantastic Four. They did a First Steps prequel comic, and it's a nice way to do it to get people sort of enjoying both mediums. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's it pretty much for single issues. There's just a couple of collected editions that definitely caught my eye. One of which caught my eye so much I had to take a picture, put it in the group chat, and say that is a sexy little omnibus.
Mm.
Advanced solicitation, not until March 2026, but again in this book. And this is the Black Widow and Captain America by Wade and Sam Lee omnibus. Now, anybody who knows me knows there are certain creative teams that just get my juices flowing. There's
Oh yes.
Brubaker Phillips, there's Snyder Capullo, there's Wade and Samney. Wade
Hmm.
and Samney, of course, did my favorite run on Daredevil. After that, they followed it up with the 12 issue maxi series, Black Widow, which to me is still the best Black Widow book I've ever read. Then they did a little stint on Captain America as
Mm-hmm.
well. And obviously these days they're doing Batman and Robin Year One, and Chris Samney has done Firepower, although that was with
Mm.
Robert Kirkman and so forth. But
Yeah,
when
that
these
was
guys work
phenomenal.
together, it's gold. So to put these two books in, it justifies the omnibus format, as you have the 12 issues of Black Widow, but you also have 10 issues of Captain America. So the award-winning creative team who breathed fresh life into Daredevil worked their magic on two iconic Avengers. Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, stars in a knockdown, drag-out tale of action and espionage. The world's greatest super spy has a lifetime of secrets, and when some of the darkest ones are made public, nobody is safe. As S.H.I.E.L.D. turned on their greatest asset, the Widow seeks out her own answers, but will Natasha's hunt for Weeping Land send her back to the one place she'd never wanted to go? Then Steve Rogers is back in shield slinging action as Captain America on a journey across the nation he loves to restore his tarnished reputation. But the dangers he encounters requires more courage than ever when he faces the all new swordsman. Strap yourselves in for a sword versus shield duel unlike anything you've ever seen. And in the far future, Cap faces his worst nightmare as a man out of time once again. So yeah, it collects all of those issues all together. It's a $100 omnibus, so 90 quid RRP. We'll do that around 85. I mean, the biggest compliment I can give Black Widow, for example, I showed Keith just before we come on here, but I have a massive artist's edition of it just behind me, which showcases all of Sam Lee's art in its original format. So yeah,
Mm.
highly, highly recommend that. Of a modern book that's been really, really good. Again, this is an advanced solicit for next year, but it's a 5 issue miniseries. We're a couple issues into it, and it's been awesome. And it's Death of the Silver Surfer. Written by Greg Pak, art by Sumit Kumar. It's a beautiful looking book, and they have solicited the hardcover here. So, the last voyage of the Sentinel of the Spaceways, the Silver Surfer returns to defend a war-ravaged Earth, but Norrin Rad has a galaxy-sized target on his back. A new enemy will stop at nothing to steal away everything the Surfer is or ever will be. A single human life may be all that decides the Surfer's salvation or damnation. So yeah, that collects all 5 issues of that. And then the last one, which I have to throw out because Marvel have been really good recently of reprinting these guys' work. Again, I talked about some of my favorite pairings: Capullo, Snyder, Wade Samney, and now we have Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And they are releasing
Mm.
the Captain America trade paperback. So they've sort of repurposed all of the Loeb and Sale stuff. It was all under color before, so it was Daredevil yellow, it was Spider-Man blue, it was Hulk gray, and it was Captain America white. But as again, they've been doing new editions and rechristening them, just Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale, and then the character. So this is due out this December. Loeb and Sale work their magic on an American icon. For Steve Rogers, the hardest thing about being a man out of time is being a man without a best friend. As Captain America comes to terms with his loss, he longs for the black and white moral simplicity of World War II. Bucky Barnes charging fearlessly into the battle at his side. The Howling Commandos right behind. Odds against them, lives on the line, taking the fight to the greatest evil of all. Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale's incredible creative partnership on the Color Series star Marvel Icon sees them revisit the glory days of Captain America and Bucky in a classic tale of friendship forged in war. Collects the whole mini series. So yeah, that is DC done. That is Marvel done. What do we have in the indie
Absolutely.
stuff?
Let's swing first to Dynamite, shall we? Surprising everyone, because Dynamite have got the second crossover between Gargoyles and the Fantastic Four. So in October, we had Fantastic Four Gargoyles by Gargoyles creator Greg Weisman and penciler Enid Balam, where Marvel's first family unites with the Manhattan Clan in this exciting crossover. And then in November from Dynamite, we have got Gargoyles, Fantastic Four, and Disney's Stone Guardians meet Marvel's first family. So again, these are taking place, I think, in the same continuity.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's part one and part two or whatever, but either way, I am buzzed for both. I thought it was just one. I thought it was just the Marvel book, but it turns out Dynamite are doing a book as well. Also by Greg Weisman, by artist George Cabades, who is the celebrated artist on Gargoyles, part of that creative team. Greg Weisman, obviously the creator of Gargoyles, and there's a lovely cover by Lucio Perillo of Ben Grimm with Goliath behind him. Very, very cool. When the Manhattan clan are invited on a tour of the world famous Baxter Building, the high tech home of the Fantastic Four, things quickly go from impressive to destructive when Cold Steel joins forces with the Dragon Man to unleash the terror that is Annihilus, trapping Franklin, Valeria, and Nash in the negative zone in the process. Now, both of these heroic extended families, Enchanted Stone and Superhuman alike, must team up in an all out effort to save their children, their city, and their whole world from destruction. Written by Gargoyles creator Greg Weisman and illustrated by celebrated artist George Cambadie, the 40-page special features non-stop action adventure with cosmically iconic covers provided by Lucio Perillo, Declan Shalvey, Amanda Connor, Mark Bagley, and Nicoletta Baldar. Looking forward to that one. That'll be good fun.
You thought it was only going to be DC Marvel crossovers. You do one, we do one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we have Marvel and
Dynamite.
Dynamite
Yeah,
working
absolutely.
together. Another one from Dynamite that's definitely worth bringing up. You know, the Thundercat stuff's been really great in store ever since it relaunched. We have had a couple of different miniseries so far. There was a Chitara one. We've had Apex. We've had Thundercats Lost. And now there is Thundercats Panthro #1. So this is written by Ed Brisson with art by Dave Acosta. And the solicitation goes: when monsters attack on a solo excursion beyond the boundaries of the cat's lair, Panthro is enjoying the solitude of the wilderness and a brief respite from his responsibilities when he is set upon by a pack of giant hostile creatures. For a warrior of his nature, this just became the best vacation ever. But as the battle is joined, the true intent behind the attack is revealed, and this secret could spell doom for all of the Thunderians on Third Earth. Acclaimed Thundercats Lost author Ed Brisson joins artist Dave Acosta for an all-out slugfest starring the strongest of the Thundercats in this #1. It also features variant covers because it's Dynamite, so of course it does, from the likes of Sebastian Perez, Robert Quinn, and Will Robson. So it's going to be a 40-pager #1 as well.
Yeah, I think that's just a one shot. There's the Chitara Worldbreaker one shot coming out, I think this month or next month, following up on her series. Again, that's a prequel. And then I think we've got the Apumara one shot by Ed Brisson as well, coming off the back of his Thundercats Lost. Really enjoying all that stuff at the minute.
Yeah, they're building out the world really, really well.
Yeah,
And
they are. Yeah, it's very cool.
it's going down well in store. I mean, yeah, Dynamite are just they're doing a really good job at the moment with those types of things, the likes of that and Terminator and a few others. So, but moving away from Dynamite, and we'll move on to Titan Comics, and you know, one we're going to showcase now. It's not my fandom, but we have plenty of people in store whose fandom it is. So we want to bring a bit of attention to Doctor Who: The Prison Paradox #1. This is written by Dan Waters. He's getting about a fair bit at the moment. You know,
he used to write Doctor Who, if I recall.
yeah, he's in the TMNT world now with Shredder and writing some great stuff at DC. And
Yeah.
he's a little bit of everywhere at the moment. Anyway, 20th anniversary of the first appearance of the Slitheen. From Dan Waters, the acclaimed writer of Doctor Who, Everyone Must Go. Experience a Doctor Who adventure like no other as the Doctor, Belinda, and an unlikely team of allies infiltrate a prison holding monsters and villains from across the cosmos. With new friends and old foes, and some old foes who might just be new friends, it's an adventure that will take you across the Whoniverse and beyond. Artist on that one as well is Sammy Cavella. So, yeah.
Sammy Cavilla was the artist on Undone by Blood, if I recall.
Yeah, the
Years
Western
ago.
book done
Yeah,
by
absolutely.
Aftershock.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it wouldn't be a preview show or a review show or a Coffee and Hero show of any kind, if we didn't mention Conan the Barbarian, because it just is the best thing coming out at the minute. So November the 12th, we have Conan the Barbarian #26, and I recommend it because it is an all-new Conan story arc starting now, a perfect jumping on point. The conquering crown, the king of Aquilonia, has gone mad, or so the rumors say. A tyrant sits upon the throne and will suffer until he is deposed or dead, and we will all suffer until he is deposed or dead. Conan the mercenary cares nothing for these royal rumors and petty politics, but the Cimmerian's skill in battle is about to put him in the path of a mad monarch, and his life will be changed forever. Grim Jib Zomba on writing. We have Fernando Dagnino on art, and a Gerardo Zaffino cover there. I wonder, is this leading into the Conan the King stuff?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, as you say, any excuse to throw in a jumping on point for Conan. You know, the trades are freely available if you want to play catch up. It's just quite simply some of the best comics around.
Yeah.
And that also extends to the Savage Sword of Conan, which of course is the magazine-sized Conan book, predominantly black and white art. Contains, you know, prose stories. It might have poetry in it. It might have splash pages, but lots of great storytelling. And it's worth pointing this one out because issue 11 sees the return of Liam Sharp to the Hyborian Age with a spellbinding Conan epic. It also has the debut of Robert E. Howard's Cormac Mac art brought to life by writer Ron Mars and artist Danny Earls. Colossal covers from Alex Horley and Liam Sharp, an array of astonishing pinups, and more. Savage Sword of Conan issue 11 lays siege to comic shops this October.
Are you ready for your comic shop to be sieged?
I think we're up to it. I think we're up to it.
Okay, good, good.
So yeah, that's Titan. That's the obligatory Conan mention.
Yeah, we'll be right at the heart of Conan, Scourge of the Serpent at that point as well. The miniseries that was previewed in the Free Comic Book Day. So cool.
Nice. So that is Titan Comics done with. But we'd mentioned in the intro that Image were having a bit of a banner month this month. So let's tuck right in and
top of that banner is one of your absolute favorites. We have the return of Youngblood by the one and only Rob Liefeld, the mass market edition. The Blood is back. Creator Rob Liefeld returns to write and draw the comic that started it all. The team is summoned to a crisis in the Pacific as a mysterious vessel appears and a deadly nemesis is revealed. This mass market edition will have a few different interior pages that the original direct-to-consumer editions did not, and it was originally sold polybagged with a trading card because, of course, it was. But yeah, Youngblood was one of the books that started it all at Image. So interesting to see it back and top of the list here.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like Liefeld to go into the past and try and relive former glories. And a whopping 12 variants, including a 1 to 500. Who is going to order 500 of this book? This is not 1992, Rob.
That's Stegman and Daniel Warren Johnson and Ryan Otley.
There's Scotty Young, there's a blank, there's Kel Ingu, there's E.M. Geist, Mark Spears, and then, of course, Liefeld himself is the 1 to 500 because we all need that. Yeah. Anyway, apparently he listens to this podcast and it's according to well-placed sources, and that's why he's blocked me on Twitter. Going on to someone who's actually really, really talented, we have Robert Kirkman for the next book, which is Capes #1. So Kirkman's been doing a really good job recently of sort of expanding the Invincible universe. He has, of course, been doing Battle Beast recently with Ryan Otley, who, of course, is one of the original creators, along with Corey Walker. But Capes #1, long out of print and very in demand, reintroducing Robert Kirkman and Mark Englert's corner of the Invincible universe. A special remastering of Capes featuring new art and dialogue. Bolt, Kid Thor, Knockout, Captain Cosmic, Clairvoyant, what a great name that is, Big Brain, Commander Capitalism. Welcome to Capes Inc., employers of your favorite superheroes to protect, well, at least when they're on the clock, New York City from threats like Machine Head, Titan, and now are in the crosshairs of an enemy they never expected. They've even brought in Ryan Otley to do a little bit of cover art for that as well. But enough of this living in the past, because we got a blockbuster book solicited this month from Image Comics, a very unexpected sequel to one of the best books of the last 10 years. Take it away.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so this is, I'm very pleased to say, Die Loaded #1, the sequel to Kieran Gillen's epic RPG saga and the artist, the returning artist, is fantastically Stephanie Hans. One of the most epic, darkest, I think, stories that I've read, and just so well put together. Kieran Gillen is just a mind. So Die returns for an epic new story of a dark fantasy adventure game gone horrifically right or wonderfully wrong. A year after the return from the hellish game world, the players gather for Chuck's Wek. They finished with the game, but the game isn't finished with them. 3-time Hugo Award nominated series is back in November. Get ready to roll initiative. Who's going to die this time? Wow. Brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, this is, someone described this as goth Jumanji. But
I was chatting to someone in store today about this because I was chatting to them about, books that they might like. They were looking at Image Comics and we were chatting about Die, and I told them the whole basis for the story, and they went, so is it a bit like Jumanji? And I just replied, I was like, it's goth Jumanji. So yeah, this will be very popular. Like, we had loads of people on Die. It was a a very tight 20 issue series, perfectly paced, great characters, great art, Stephanie Hans. So yeah, and I love just the subtitle of it. The idea of a loaded die, is just
Yeah,
is great.
yeah.
So
So we'll have the return of Ash and Angela. Ash was the middle-aged guy who the in the game played Ash, the dictator diplomat character archetype living as a woman. We had his sister Angela, who was the cyberpunk inspired character with one arm. There was Isabel, who she was the Godbinder. Matt, who was the Grief Knight. Chuck, that seems from this description they're at his wake. So Chuck, if you remember, was the fantasy novel writer. He was the rich and famous one who, whenever he'd come back from die, he'd been married a bunch of times. He played the fool, and he really annoyed them all. And then there was Saul, who was the games master. So that's man, I am so looking forward to that book. That'll be so good. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. Um,
and you've even
excited.
got a little something to tide you over in the world of Die as well.
Yes, indeed. So they're also releasing with the return of Die with Die Loaded this month. The temptation to try the Origins award-winning Die RPG will be strong, and they're making it easy for us with this self-contained comic format quick start in the Die the role-playing quick start edition. Gives you all the rules, the characters you need to play, and includes a multi-session scenario to get you started. Just add dice, friends, and a desire to be sucked into a game. Written and illustrated by the creators of the comic, Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans. This is your gateway to making your own bespoke Die experience at home. So 56 pages. It's £6. I'm definitely going to grab that. I haven't grabbed the actual game yet, but I've been tempted, so this will probably throw me over the edge, I have to say.
Oh, they get you in the end. They get you in the
Oh,
end.
they always do.
Definitely one that I'm looking forward to. I've been obviously loving Wes Craig's Kaya.
Yep.
It's been going on quite a while now. Great adventure book, great all ages book. But they're doing something quite interesting here with a special one shot. It's called Colossal Kaya. The solicitation for it is Nathan Fox, James Harren, Mike Huddleston, Declan Shelby, Rand Stegman. Wes Craig teams up with some of the greatest artists in modern comics for a jam-packed special. Wraparound cover by Wes Craig, classic centerfold, a colossal 48 pages of story and extras. Colossal Kaya is an exclusive single issue, not to be collected in a trade paperback, and also includes a 6-page introduction to the series, perfect for new readers. So that's a really interesting way to bring new readers in, I think, because you're obviously
Yeah.
20 odd issues into the series. It can maybe be a little tricky to get new readers on, but having that as sort of a one shot special, but also a here we will bring you up to speed on the story. I think
Yeah.
that's a really interesting bold swing.
Hell of a lineup. Hell of a lineup. Also, I read the current issue of Kaya earlier on today, and it's really it's been tipping along the whole way through. It's a great book. But I
Hmm.
think this issue just sort of raised the stakes a wee bit.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've been enjoying that from the very, very start. Excellent stuff. So it is. Are you up to date on it?
yeah, very much so.
Good stuff. Alrighty, we both enjoyed the first issue of Giant Generator's Escape by Rick Remender. Issue 4 of that is out. If you haven't had a chance to pick up issue 1, I would highly recommend it. Do you still have any of those left in store?
I've got some more coming next week.
Excellent. So yeah,
So
issue 4 will be out in November, but pick up issue 1 of Rick Remender's anthropomorphic animal World War II story. Excellent stuff. But what we have, speaking of war, what we have coming up in November from the Energon universe is GI Joe number 13. Writer Joshua Williamson, art by Tom Riley, where we have the beginning of the 5-part Dreadnought War. When Cobra Commander is betrayed by one of his closest allies, he's targeted for revenge by the Dreadnoks. But in his darkest hour, the only one who can save Cobra Commander is Duke. The team up you never expected kicks off the biggest G.I. Joe story yet, one so action packed that it will ship bi weekly from the dream team of Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley. So that's 2 issues a month for that arc.
yeah, it
Uh,
looks like it's going fortnightly, which will give it
yeah,
a nice bit of momentum.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so the second issue there is out later in the month. I hadn't noticed that, but yeah, it looks like we have the first appearance of a fan favorite character in that issue 14. So very, very cool. Excited about that.
Nice. Slipping into the Ghost Machine where Geiger hits issue 20. And we're now starting to see some of these books come together. So, with this one, after the explosive finale of Redcoat, the Northerner, the mysterious Union soldier finds himself face to face with Tyreek Geiger in the
Mm.
radioactive future. But is he here to help or to change everything? So, this is your jumping on point for this series. The next era of Geiger begins here. But if you haven't read everything that leads to here, trades are available. I'm highly recommended. This is some of the best stuff around at the moment through Image Comics. Also, always presented in beautiful paper, cardstock covers, gorgeous art, brilliant storytelling, and it's all starting to come together.
Oh, I gotta say those two books are the books that get me most excited the week they're out. Is
Mm-hmm.
Redcoat and Geiger, and also looking forward to the return of Rook Exodus, or whatever the subtitle will be of this current Rook
Yeah,
series.
for the second volume.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Great
And
stuff.
then just one last one from myself from Image Comics, and that is the Blackheart Billy 25th anniversary hardcover. So this is written by Rick Remender, art by Kieran Dwyer. So this is early Remender, early unfiltered Remender.
Oof.
After decades in comic book exile, the absurd skit punk cult classic Blackheart Billy returns, celebrating 25 gloriously questionable years of terrible choices, filthy living, and a long forgotten punk rock ideology, all wrapped up in the last thing it deserves: a fancy hardcover. Meet Billy Black, skate punk misfit with a robotic head, a bottomless supply of sarcastic contempt for society, and terrible impulse control. His life is a never ending quest for fun, punk rock debauchery, and skinning abandoned pools, until a deranged Nazi scientist decides to bring Adolf Hitler back inside the reanimated corpse of Jerry Garcia. Now San Francisco is rapidly descending into a fascist hippie nightmare, and only Billy, armed with snide disdain, a baseball bat, and reckless disregard for personal safety, can defeat this self-righteous Pacioli-soaked moral authority. Created by the dynamic duo of Rick Remender and Kieran Dwyer, Blackheart Billy is a joyful mashup of comic absurdity, reverent satire, and non-stop anarchy. This stylish hardcover collects the entire original run in black and white, plus a treasure trove of previously unseen goodies, and a new afterword that Remender probably wrote in a nostalgic delirium. What a great solicitation. That's going to be a
Brilliant.
hardcover out in November.
Brilliant. Moving into the realm of Boom Studios, we've got a couple of things either ending or coming close to an end. November 12th, we have the penultimate issue of James Tynion and Michael Dialinus's Wind, the Power of Blood. Wind's world is on the brink. Can they defeat Zedra before it's too late? And the penultimate issue of the beloved fantasy series, The Battle for Pipetown, reaches a critical turning point. We've been reading that for a long time, and it is now
Yeah.
coming to an end.
Yeah, I mean, certainly check out our interview with creator Conor McCreary chatting about The Last Witch. We recently got in new editions of the first book into the store. It's actually been selling really, really well. Great all ages book and steeped in Irish mythology, so definitely worth a pick up there.
Yeah, and that's the Last Witch, Blood and Betrayal #5, which is the final issue of that thrilling saga. I'll not go into it because I don't want to spoil it. Conor McCreary and Vivi Glass.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, well, so just a couple to finish off with, kicking things off in IDW and in the corner of TMNT.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is an interesting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #13. The new era begins. So acclaimed Eisner Award-winning writer Gene Luen Yang of American Boy and Chinese, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Superman Smashes the Klan, takes over writing duties of TMNT from Jason Aaron. Following the stunning events of TMNT 12, the Turtles face a different New York, one where they are viewed as heroes. The celebration will be short-lived as new threats vie for control. The mutant yak, Papa Bing, is determined to widen the power base for his gang, yet little does he know that he and other TMNT villains are being stalked by a powerful new assassin, Yujigami, Freddie E. Williams second on art. So that'll be one of those. That'll be one of those. Am I staying on? Am I jumping off? Now Aaron's run has ended. I'm a bit bummed that Aaron's run is in fact ended. But what do you think? Give it a chance.
I'll give it the first. I'll give it 13 and 14. Probably Freddie E. Williams, the second, is a long established Turtles artist. He did like all the
Yeah,
Batman TMNT crossovers and stuff like that. Jin Lin Yang is a cracking writer, so I'll definitely
yeah,
give the first couple of issues a go. Although similar to yourself, I mean, the main reason I jumped on it was Jason Aaron. But
yeah.
it's always better that a writer leaves it, leaving you wanting more than overstaying their welcome.
Well, that's very
So
true. That's very
We'll
true.
give it a go. We'll give it a go. The other one from IDW and of course TMNT based as well is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles times Godzilla #1. This is written by Tim Seeley with art by Pharaoh Panish. The heroes in a half shell are taking on the king of the monsters. Godzilla is everywhere in
Yep.
comics. Long before the organization was corrupted by Shredder, the Foot Clan's original purpose was to save Japan from kaiju. Now, in the present day, Godzilla and its fellow monsters have reappeared. Not only is the Foot not prepared to stop them, it would seem Shredder himself is behind the attacks. The villainous ninja is attempting to use the kaiju to create a new mutagen, one that would give his henchmen a massive upgrade. Can the Turtles make it to Japan in time to stop this madness? Join superstar writer Tim Seeley and incredible artist Pharaoh P in the crossover of the biggest crossover of the year. So that
Sweet.
brings
Yeah.
IDW to a close.
And a couple of dips into distillery. There was one that looked pretty interesting to me. It's the a new distillery debut series from Curtis Perez, who is on Lost Fantasy, which I'm currently reading, Indigo Children, and the art is by Amilcar Pina, formerly of X-Men, Gambit, Generation X, Green Lantern, whole Superman, whole wreck of stuff over the years. But it's I suppose it was the solicitation that got me. What if George Lucas and Quentin Tarantino had a got baby? That baby would be Kurt Pires and Amilcar Pina's Galactic, an ultra-violent interstellar romance that tells the story of a roguish bounty hunter hired to bring back a princess on a death bender on a hippie planet, and inadvertently finding themselves caught in the crossfire of an intergalactic war, and maybe, just maybe, falling in love along the way. Did we mention there's a talking dog who pilots the starship? For fans of Star Wars, saga, and sex criminals. Done.
Yeah, the solicitations are definitely, I feel like they're being written for us this month with some of these books. The
Yeah.
other one to have a look at here, also from Distillery, is a hardcover collection for a title called Warm Fusion, written by Scott Hoffman of Scissor Sisters fame,
Oh
who teams
yeah.
up with artist Alberto Ponticelli for a sci fi horror mystery that pushes the limits of the grotesque. New York City, over 2 decades into the future, has been devastated by crime, ongoing storms, radiation from a terrorist incident in Times Square, and the genetic mutations caused by the life saving cure. After a series of murders ripped through the city's brothels, an escort named Vin Young, who cosplays as Snow White, and is one of the generation of deformed victims, decides to help find the killer, or killers responsible, reluctantly joining forces with Jared Hanover, the lone cop assigned to the case. The tour led to a biotech megacore launching a cellular metal called Warm Fusion, a pioneer in technology meant to replace prosthetic limbs, and soon confront the sociopathic scientist Nicholas Flesher, his monstrous alter ego Mr. Barnaby, and the hideous monster that he's been secretly creating. So that all sounds interesting enough, but then you get this. Warm Fusion is a dark sci-fi thriller mixing the body horror of David Cronenberg with the bleak urban future of Blade Runner for fans of Videodrome, The Thing, and RoboCop. This is how they get us. This
Yeah,
is how they get
absolutely
us.
it is, yeah.
They hit those sweet
100%.
spots. They do.
Okay. We're gonna finish off with it's not a company we spend a lot of time with or have done in the past, but Bad Idea are certainly I think starting to make themselves known. So Bad Idea Comics, and there's one writer who pulls together our two choices from Bad Idea this month. So my choice is Ordained #1, just because this just seems so badass. It's by writer Robert Vendetti and artist Trevor Hairsine with a Jorge Fornes cover. New York best. It's called Ordained #1. New York Times best-selling author Robert Vendetti, Superman 78 and Planet Death, joins forces with powerhouse artist Trevor Hairsine, Deceased and X-Men, and 10-time Eisner Award-winning colorist Dave Stewart, Hellboy and Star Wars, to deliver a brutal, no-holds-barred action crime comic that will leave you breathless. I know everything from brutal right through no-holds-barred and action crime probably had you right there, Alan. But
They do know how to get me. They know
yeah,
how to get me.
absolutely. Father Royston Craig has become a priest late in life, but he's determined to make up for lost time. Along with his regular duties in his St. Louis church, he also performs the prayers and the last rites to patients on their deathbeds at the nearby hospital. One day, he's called to give these sacraments to Cormac Byrne, who doctors say won't last the night. Byrne, like many others, has turned to God only at the end. He hasn't been in the church for decades. Father Roy is eager to hear his confession, but what starts as a petty crime from a lifetime ago quickly becomes a horrifying litany of gangland violence and killings. Cormac Byrne is no ordinary man. He is, in fact, the head of the Irish Mafia. God offers forgiveness to all who repent, and Father Roy completes his task by absolving Byrne of his mortal sins, leaving the man to die at peace until the next morning when Byrne makes a miraculous medical recovery. No longer at death's door, Byrne is quick to return to his old ways. It's business as usual, and he's got loose ends to tie up. First things first, kill the priest, who now knows where all the bodies are buried. But Father Roy's collar wasn't always white, and Byrne is going to learn the hard way that Father Royston Craig was once Chief Petty Officer Royston Craig, a former Navy SEAL who found his faith in the midst of battle. Now Father Roy must face vicious gangsters, corrupt cops, and his own inner demons if he is to survive. And while he will be forced to tap into violent skill set he never thought he'd again entertain, the one thing Father Roy will not do is kill. That sounds fantastic. Apparently, that's already been optioned as a movie.
Yeah, definitely it has the sounds of one. I mean, I almost feel like I don't need to read it now. That is one long solicitation.
Yeah, I know, but it sounds class, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Bad Idea have started to release some really interesting stuff, and the one we're going to finish off with is just to guide you in the direction of a title called Planet Death. It kicked off with this £2 issue zero, which was printed on like recycled paper and just giving you a little sense of what it was going to be. And then they launched with this glossy issue one 64 pager, glorious book that sort of in a
Oh,
bit of a way came out of nowhere to be one of my.
somewhere between Warhammer 40,000 and Starship Troopers.
Yeah, I mean, I've described it to the guys as Gears of War meets Lord of the Rings. You know,
Yeah.
it has this big epic feel to it, but like that steampunky vibe of Gears of War. And we do still have number ones in the store. I ordered pretty big on it, but there is a second printing coming in November because also in November it's going to be issue two. So it's written by Derek Kolstad, who is the creator and writer of John Wick. Also written by Robert Venditti, who of course is a comic book legend. But it's the art that really stands out for me. It's an artist called Tomas Giorello, who
Yeah.
unsurprisingly has worked on Conan. So there's why we know why he's
Uh-huh.
good.
There we
We must
go.
find those Conan books he worked on, and worked on Star Wars as well. So yeah, it was just to direct you to the just to direct you to that because yeah, there will be a second printing if we're out of it, but we do have still some first prints in the store, so well worth checking out if you've a quieter week. So yeah, that is going to bring to an end the previews this month. So again, this is the September previews books. A majority of these titles are in November, but we did seem to highlight quite a few advanced solicitations. But
Sometimes you don't see it till the last minute, but
no,
you're already committed.
very true, very
Yeah.
true. But yeah, the orders for these won't be due until sort of 20th, 21st of September. So loads of time to get your pre-orders in. We do, of course, have the books in store. We started ordering extra books now, so they're on every table in the store. They're up at the counter. We even have free ones to give away to people. So marvelously modeled there by Mr. Keith Miller. And yeah, so any updates you wanted to pull us, just call in the store to chat to us. We can take care of it. Send us an email, drop it on social media, whatever your preferred method is. I may not reply to it straight away.
You're busy at the end of the week.
I
Yeah.
do have a second child due in a couple of days, but I will always see those messages. It's always myself who replies to them, so fear not, they will be added to your polls. So as ever, always a pleasure chatting with you, good sir.
Yeah, that was
And
good fun. That's November's going to be a hefty month.
yeah, we're approaching the dreaded C word, Keith. So.
Yeah.
That's all right. Most of those books aren't out until 2026. So all
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Good work.
But
Good
anyway,
work.
as ever, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Hope it's kept you up to date with what's coming out. Let you know the books we're excited for. And again, just get in touch if there's anything you'd like added to a pull list.
Brilliant. Nice one.
And we'll see you on the other side.
Good night.